All right, hello and welcome. How is everyone doing on what I hope is a fantastic Monday, December the 16th at
Hey, you
our
got it right.
I had to double check a couple times at our new hour of scampering, 9 o'clock. How you doing, Jeff?
Pretty good, pretty good. A little tired this evening, but not too bad. How's Matthew?
Doing well. Doing well.
Excellent.
Just getting used to being out and about on Mondays. It's definitely a new thing for me, but it's good. You know, I got an official job offer today,
Oh,
which yes, which it's so weird. It's been so long since I've been on this side of like job offers and such that I honestly have no idea if this is a good offer. Like I've been an independent contractor for 5, 7 years or something, and uh, it's been a long. It's been a while. It's definitely been a minute, and now I'm like I don't know. I don't know if this is right or not. Was the professor
well,
frozen for a second? It may have been my usual glitch.
usually you're the one that freezes up.
That's true.
I think they're pulling your leg. It is Josh after all.
It's true.
But congratulations on your Enron job.
Thank you, thank you. I look forward to it. I hear that they are a shoe-in. They can't go wrong. Too big to fail, something like that. Yeah, and Shy claim you can't hear me. Not gonna work this time. Thank you.
At least I can hear you. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I can hear you.
Yeah, Omni says, isn't it January now? Almost. I mean, by Matt's calculations, I think we're almost to February, to be honest. But
Well, that's what I told him. We're in February.
and yeah, Matthew hasn't changed his shirt in a week. It's so comfy. Like it's a sweater, and it is so comfy. And it's
I thought it
wintertime.
was I thought it was his biking outfit.
Yeah, that is very functional, but it is not what I would describe as comfy.
Okay.
It's backwards? No, it's not backwards. Look, it got the zipper and everything right there.
Be kind of hard to zip if it was in the back.
And see that's more of a girl problem. The
Yeah,
dresses with zippers in the back.
right?
Is it the same thing Matthew wears when he goes biking? It is not. I do
That's what I
have.
thought, Josh.
I'll grant it to you. It does look that like the kind of stripes on the side there, the general look. It looks very similar. I'll grant you that. And exactly, Thomas. No one needs to see Matthew wearing a tight bike outfit. I I stay on the backside of the camera for a very good reason whenever I do my hotter than hell uh, rides. Like I've yet to meet the. It doesn't matter how in shape you are, you do not look good in a biking outfit. Like it is a universal truth. Wait, who's Zach Allen Omni?
Oh, we've seen Zach Allen.
Is he
He's in the
Kiefer?
show. No,
Oh.
he's Garibaldi's aide.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was, and it's like the Riker adjust. Everyone aboard the Enterprise was always
Oh,
pulling things
well,
down.
the Picard maneuver.
Yeah, that's what it's
He did
called.
the Riker maneuver was climbing over the chair to sit down.
Yeah, because and apparently, like they really didn't like it when his uniform had a wrinkle in it, and so he was constantly like having to adjust it, or else the director would be fussing at him.
Oh,
Is
that
what
the
I've heard.
reason? I didn't know that. I just thought it was the thing he did.
Yeah, it's just kind of like Troy and her onesie. They're like, okay, we wanted to have this aesthetic, and so Picard, he just every time he stood up, it had this. Because look, I mean, I move a little bit and I get all the wrinkles, and they wanted it to be crisp. It's a uniform, but it bunched.
Oh, better than those onesies they were wearing in the first two seasons.
Oh, bless their hearts.
Truck Reviewer says the actor that plays Zach Allen was also in Grease and Taxi, and he did go for a character in Star Trek, but he didn't get it.
Oh, do you know what he was trying to get? What role, or just?
I read an article on it, and it didn't specify which character. He just auditioned rather for Star Trek.
Texas wants to know if Matthew would get the captain's name wrong. Which one? Because the answer is yes.
He's talking about the captain in the spin-off show to Babylon 5 called Crusade.
Okay.
And I don't know if we're going to do Crusade or not. We haven't gotten that far, and we have probably 2 years before we have to worry about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I already got I'm going to think hard on this one. Sinclair's name wrong.
You've called Sheridan Sinclair.
I was trying to say Sheridan. Yeah, I've already gotten case in point.
You just got him wrong.
Oh man. But
what's scary is you're getting Dolores's name right now.
Yeah, once okay. I do not understand how my mind works. So
we don't want to know how your mind works.
I would love to know how my mind works. So I'm doing this memorization thing where it's part of, being a leader at my church. I want to have a better understanding of the Bible, because right now, like, I've grown up reading it. I know all the I don't want to sound prideful here. I know the general details here. But if someone would say, "Oh, Matt, what chapter does this happen?" and I'd be like, "I don't know." And so there's this packet that has like 700 different facts throughout the Bible. And I have zero problem memorizing this stuff. Like references, chapters, themes, outlines, no problem whatsoever. You introduce someone's name to me and it will not stick for the life of me. Like, I do not understand why that detail just gone. Hopelessly gone. All this information, no problems whatsoever. It is beyond me.
That's just how you work, Matthew.
Well, you would think memorization is memorization. Like, oh, you can remember this fact. Like, I was out of town last week at a plant, and I can't tell you one thing about the people's names that I met there. But I can tell you where they came from. One person was from Mexico City. One person came from India, the South Side. There's another Indian guy. He was from North Central. There was a guy, one of the Indian guys, like, he immigrated over here, lived in Dallas. Wasn't really that weird because there's a lot of Indian people here. Went to Wisconsin. Really weird. Completely, like, that's a different culture. And I'm like, yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I went to Utah. I'm like, I'm uncomfortable here. It is too white for me. But because, I grew up in a heavily Hispanic area, and whenever I leave that sort of diversity group, I feel uncomfortable. But so I can remember all these details, could not tell you the man's name. I can't even tell you what I can tell you what it starts with, but I'll be wrong,
So the joke, Matthew, is that the captain's name in Crusade is Matthew Gideon.
Oh, yeah, there's no way I'm going to remember that.
I figured.
It's even worse because, so Gideon, 8th judge of Israel, or not, he wasn't the 8th, he was like the 7th or something. He's one of my favorite people from the Bible because is a time in Israel's history where they're being oppressed by the Midianites, terrified out of his mind. Anytime they grew crops out in the open, the Midianites would come and destroy their crops and stuff. So he manages to grow little wheat, and he's in an abandoned wine vat, and he's grinding it by hand to make some bread. And then an angel appears to him and says, "Hail and well met, brave warrior." I just imagine Gideon's looking around like, is there someone else hiding this in this wine vat? Because I know you're not talking to me right now. And then, it just he doubts God the whole time, and it's just such a relatable thing for me. Be like, God sees you this way, and I'm like, are you sure you're talking about me? Are you sure you're not like someone else in here? So my favorite judge and my name. There's no way I'm gonna remember this guy's name.
Well, to be truthful, I have trouble with names. I'm really good with numbers and dates, but names, I have trouble. So
What's up with
there you
that?
go. I don't know.
And did I say the
Um,
south side of India? Yes, I actually said South India. Lots of places have souths, just like lots of places have north.
Lots of places have a north. Or is that planets? Lots of planets have a north.
Oh, they say places too. Uh,
Do they?
like, so if you don't know, this is a Doctor Who joke. Now, I don't know if this was classic Who joke or not, but I know it was a running joke with David Tennant.
Well, it started with Christopher Eccleston, actually.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
when Rose meets the Doctor, she says, she asks him if he's an alien, and he says yes. And then she asks him, well, why do you sound like you're from the North? Because he has that Northern accent in England.
Yeah.
And he
Okay.
replies, lots of planets have a North.
And then they keep that joke going. At one point, Donna, they're in Pompeii, and she goes, "Vini, Vidi, Vici," and because the TARDIS translates whatever they're speaking into what the people of the land are speaking, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Are you from the north?" And she gets offended. Well, lots of places have north, and I want to say
That's
they do
true.
it once with maybe Martha. I forget now.
I don't recall, but they could have.
So I actually have pinned the link to this week's screening room. If y'all guys want to join us
I
there,
see that. I see that.
kind of being
He's on.
proactive.
Yeah, you're on the ball. What's going on?
It's
How's
weird.
this happening?
Next thing, I'm like gonna get through the whole episode and be like, "Hey, I recognize this guest character," and everyone's gonna be, "What is this guy?" But no, so I had a prediction about this week.
You did.
Do you remember what it was?
So the episode is, and now for a word. And you thought this was going to be like the commercials where they would have, and now for a word from our sponsors. So they would take a break from all the action that's going on right now in the show. This would be a comedy-esque type episode. And it's going to be behind the scenes vignettes, little stories about characters we don't get to see very much. It'd be a funny episode.
I could go for a funny episode tonight. So let's find out how 100% right I am. Like after tonight episode, people are going to be going, "Matthew, are you a prophet or a son of a prophet?" No, I'm just a really good guesser, everyone. Uh,
Zooty zoot zoot funny funny. Yes, Omni.
yeah, Texas. Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life. Trevor Lauren, if you're at the South Pole, which way is north? Every way. Like,
All directions are north.
yeah, like if you're at the true South Pole. Do you mean magnetic or geographic? I suppose.
Well, I guess if you're talking magnetic or geographic in your question.
It would still be the same.
Yeah,
As long as you're being consistent in what you're talking about.
exactly. I have no idea what we're talking about, so.
Is there a magnetic South Pole? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like a bar magnet has a south pole.
But if you're on the South Pole, wouldn't everything be south of you? No? Everything would be north of you?
No. Yeah, everything would be north.
I feel like you're trying to trick the dyslexic. We're going to move forward here, guys. So,
might be a good idea. Very prudent.
Here's the way it works. If you're new here, which I doubt you are, but hey, you never know. Every once in a while, I get someone who shows up and then gets highly offended that I get names wrong. Great times. Great times. Welcome. If you're new here, you can click on that link that I have pinned, and then during this stream and this stream only, you can join us, and it will sync up all of our watch times so that you're within a second or two of the video. If you're here in the future, sorry, that link won't work. It's only right now. You're going to have your own copy to watch, which, good news, if you're on Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free there without commercials.
In the United States. In the United States.
In the United States. Okay. I said without commercials, but I don't know that. I know there's been a lot of people sneaking commercials back into paid services like Disney and Hulu. Like, you pay to get access to their commercial level at the lowest tier, and then you have to go up from there. It's dumb. And
they were losing money. They were losing money on the no commercial options, so they boost the price on that.
So dumb.
Yeah, they were getting more money from the commercials.
Prime does mean no commercials. Okay, but yeah, I believe it. I mean, they got the numbers to justify people paying them a lot of money for their commercials. It's just silly to me. So that's, you can stream it. I always recommend, and there's Tubi TV. Tubi TV, 100% free with commercials.
Yeah.
If you don't want to have to worry about weird compression artifacting, you don't want to have to worry about you bought it and now you can't access it because they lost the rights to stream it. You don't want to have to worry about not having internet access. Hey, just buy the physical media. Go out and get the Blu-rays. They're usually like under $80, I want to say, on Amazon.
Right now, $69.99.
Ooh.
And there are only 14 in stock, so order soon. And no, I'm not getting any sort of.
I wish we were getting some sort of sponsorship. Yeah, come on, Amazon. I know that, you know, we only have 19, 20 people watching this on every week, and this is a TV series that's older than an unearthly amount of people now. But hey, I'll take a kickback.
Sure, I will too.
I can be bought.
We know people can be bought. Omni's been bought.
Oh, is he now? Is that a Jep Nerdy?
Well, yeah, well, he's, you know, on the Paramount board. He has these secret meetings with the board of Paramount Plus. Bought and paid for, he says.
Is that why every day he's doing a countdown to some Star Trek?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know of anything Star Trek coming out.
I mean, I see he uses these like Kill Bill color posters, like it's bright yellow.
Yeah, it's really weird stuff.
Yeah.
Hashtag highly anticipated, says Omni.
Yeah, Amazon will never sponsor me after the crime of advertising for them. I know. Affiliate links are winks. Affiliate links are weird. Omni can't keep a straight face. If you are just watching right now, you can't join us in the screening room, you don't have the ability to pull up a second browser, or you don't have physical media you can watch on a TV, we got you covered. There's going to be a clip every 9-ish seconds, just a still image, so you can have a reference for what's going on with, double check real quick, no sound. Yes, there will be no sound coming through on this. So with all that, excuse me. Sorry about that. With all that, let's go ahead and get started. I'll give everyone in the future who is synchronizing their own media, hopefully a physical copy, to this one, a quick 3 countdown, and we'll get going. So 3, 2, one. Hit that play button, everyone. So this is what I was talking about for anyone too young to remember such things. They used to interrupt the regularly scheduled content with stuff, or they say, we'll be back in just a moment after these a word from our sponsors. But apparently they're doing a 36-hour special on Babylon 5, which to me doesn't sound like they're interrupting their regularly scheduled content. It sounds like they planned for this to be their regularly scheduled content.
I kind of thought that too. It's not actually a 36-hour program. It's just 36 hours that they recorded on the station.
Oh, okay.
And they're having this special on it.
That makes a lot more sense. And they're doing a couple little lore facts about it there at the bottom. How much it weighed, its tonnage, its dimensions, its favorability. Which, I mean, I think it says a lot about where we are as a society, where 41% unfavorability was like, oh my goodness, this is unacceptable. Like, no one could ever have a 41% unfavorability.
No, never.
And yes, the most important rule on Babylon 5: expect the unexpected. So it's a mockumentary episode. Well, maybe not mockumentary. It's a fake documentary episode. Oh, that's a lovely way to start things.
Right.
But hey, I'm being proven right in my prediction so far, right? Such a light-hearted episode.
Oh, yeah. Can't get any lighter than this.
Yeah.
Ship blown up right away. Where we've seen that before.
Kay Roberts was saying this is like a 36 minutes episode. Or 60 minutes, excuse me.
60 minutes, yes.
And where have we seen the logo before?
The Interplanetary Expeditions. The episode where Dr. Franklin's mentor came on the station in season 1.
Oh, okay. And his second in command had that doodad that started to mess with his genetic structure.
Yep. Infection. We're give you a little clue. You're going to see a lot of things referencing prior events.
Is this Shades of Grey?
No. It's not a clip show.
Okay.
It's not a clip show. It's way better. Way better.
For those who aren't aware, I'm not talking about the crazy book/movie 50 Shades. There was a Star Trek episode in season 2, the end of season 2, that was a clip episode called Shades of Grey. And Riker was having some infection that he was fighting, I want to say.
A plant infected him or something.
And so they had to stimulate specific memories to fight it. And so each time a memory would get stimulated, producing an emotional response, we would see a clip of that memory. This woman looks a little bit like an aged Linda Hamilton.
It's actually Kim Zimmer.
And this news lady has absolutely no consideration for what's going on right now.
No, she doesn't.
Like, this probably makes her an excellent news reporter, but also just a horrible woman or person in general. I mean, she sees that the wounded are on the desk. deck. This is a triage situation. There's a lot of dead people, and she's trying to interrupt them to get a 5 second clip from them. And so the ship that was blown up was a Centauri ship,
Yes.
and the ship that done the blowing up was a Narn. And so,
Yep.
so Londo is being a good ambassador, capitalizing on the situation. Sorry, it was
Of course
funny to
he's
me
lying,
because
right?
um,
Notice they
the
got his name wrong.
oh, did
They
they?
said Chahar.
Oh, so Londo is asked the question. So this was an unprovoked attack, and he goes, "Of course." Okay, so it is interesting so far, just the way she is dripping information about the station.
Now we've seen him before.
Yeah, during the Rush episode.
The Rush Act, yeah. By any other means. Or by any means necessary, excuse me.
And he's referencing that right now. That they had a couple
Yep.
issues last year, try to hit us with some budget cuts.
Hey, he gets a name. David Corwin.
He's the guy who's just usually in the background doing stuff.
Yeah, he gets a line or two now and then.
I like Ivanova in the background just staring at the back of his head. Sorry. He was just talking about, yes, I love working here. I don't think I've ever seen anyone ever get upset here. And Ivanova's in the background. That's right. That's what you say. No, I
And
didn't
we
read
heard we heard we heard that in the pilot episode.
the odds of them
Yeah.
failing.
Yep.
And I didn't catch all the titles they gave him. What were like they had a string of titles under his name.
Well, the main thing is that he won, I don't know, a medal. Trying to find in my notes here.
It's just one of those things where the way they present people's names on a show like this actually does a lot toward biasing or influencing the viewer, even without them realizing that they're being biased in that moment.
Yeah, very much so.
And so I was trying to see if they were specifically highlighting specific that's a lot of specifics. Sorry, I was trying to see if they were highlighting certain characteristics of him, like maybe playing up the Star Killer side of him.
Well, he did mention his old ship, the Agamemnon, that he was the starship captain. And they
Specialty
referenced
henobiology.
the change in command.
Sorry, I was curious. So for Dr. Franklin just now, it was going. It said his name and his specialization was listed as henobiology, but I think that may have just been an interesting character choice or font choice. I think it was supposed to be xenobiology. I'm not familiar with henobiology.
I missed that part.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be Xeno. I think it was just the font they used. was kind of like
Probably.
one of those artistic ones
This is really interesting what he's talking about.
about the guy who got spaced.
Well, we've heard security talking about spacing people. Garibaldi's mentioned it, and he's talking about how much he hates jokes about that.
And he is talking about an incident he recalls where someone that actually happened to someone.
Yep.
And, and in real life, there was someone who experienced that vacuum differential. Uh, it,
I think this is great too. People in the background, they're
yeah,
playing to the camera.
uh, kind of morbid here, but like in real life, there was a deep sea chamber, or the area where the divers would acclimate back to normal pressure after being in deep sea dives, and they messed up on the sealing procedure, and so a guy was he basically got sucked through a 5-inch hole.
Yeah, I think I've seen that story before.
Successful, and there we go. I think in just a second, there's I see YouTube Studio saying that it has an excellent connection now, and if
Good.
I am any judge of technology, I should be back now. Okay, yep, and there's everyone in the chat. Well, wasn't that interesting, everyone? Okay, thanks, Shy. No audio, I'm sure. I believe you. Uh, well, that was fun for limited definitions of the word fun. So I tried to pause this once I realized that things had gone horribly wrong. I went ahead and paused this, and we should all be. Oh, you know what? I bet over in the Streamlab area, or not Streamlab, excuse me, in our watch room, I bet it's all messed up. Let me try and pull that
Um,
back up.
it's currently at about 1724. I think it went out around the 13-minute mark.
Yeah, so 12:17. 12:17 is where
1217.
it should be, and everyone should be snapping back there right about now. Um, yeah, little did Matthew know this is all just an elaborate joke. Yeah. Oh, you got me, YouTube. Yo, you wacky YouTube. Pranked again. So yeah, sorry about that. Just
ISN did not approve the restreaming of the broadcast.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened. It's just for some reason all of my internet just disappeared. There's no storm out there anymore. Just gone. So bear with me as I try and get um the screenshots to try and sync up with this. I probably won't ever get it for the rest of the episode, but we're gonna give our best shot. So
Sounds good.
here we go. And then what was just happening is that Jakar was revealing to everyone that Babylon 5 was being used as a staging ground to get Centauri weapons through to key points. And so they were pretending like, oh, this was totally unprovoked. But what's really happening is that the Centauri recognized that Babylon 5 represents a neutral area, and they're using it as an arms dealership. Kind of like Quark was doing.
Deep Space Nine, I tell you, Paramount, they stole it again.
So here we go. We'll do our best. We'll do our best, everyone.
It'll be fine. Now, I don't know if you heard, Senator Hidoshi from season 1 lost re-election, so he's not around anymore.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It was earlier in this episode.
Sorry, I'm gonna pause the stream for just a second because I'm trying to get the clips to line up. Okay, that's gonna be it. That's the best I'm gonna get, everyone.
It's fine.
Okay, so the Senator Hidoshi got, well, fired isn't quite the word. He didn't get reelected
Right.
because of his friendly stance for Babylon 5.
He wasn't very helpful. He wasn't very friendly to the station, I don't think. Now, this actor is Christopher Curry. He was in Star Trek. He played an automobile driver in Voyager in the episode 1159.
Okay, an automobile driver. 1159, was that the one where the planet was using the, they got like slightly out of the Voyager's people went back in time just a little bit. Um, they were using some unstable energy source. Cass was able to sense them. Their attempts to rescue Janeway and Tom Paris is actually what caused the accident in the first place.
Now, this is the one about the Millennium Gate with Janeway's ancestor.
Okay.
Ah, she's right. Now, he knows why they surrendered, but he's not going to say.
And as even without being aware of why they surrendered, as a military individual, I think he recognizes that victory of the war doesn't necessarily mean you won the war.
That's exactly right. I love that. She mispronounces her name.
Commander Ivanova. See, even I didn't get it that wrong. And and Ivanova is now checking the veracity of the claim that there were weapons aboard. And the news lady wants to know how she got there. And I'm curious if she's going to pull out the mom card. Like, oh, well, actually, I know this about you. so, so, so don't know if she actually knew more or not. But the news lady goes, "Oh, come on, Commander. I bet there's more to your story than that." And Ivana goes, "Yes."
Yes. So we learn about Ivanova's brother. He died in the war. Ganya.
And that's right, Josh. If I can't get the name right, I just give them a new name. In fact, often I can get the name right and I just get it wrong and give them a new name anyway.
Yes, Malthus. The news lady gets names wrong. She must be related to Matthew.
Must be one of my distant descendants. And there's some ood. But
Not
she lets
quite.
us know that there are 14 unique atmospheres in the alien sector. And of course, she, in thinking that she's extremely witty, points out that the aliens refer to the human sector as the alien sector.
Kind of makes sense.
So I'm curious if she's actually gonna put on the mask or if she's just uh okay, she did. And he doesn't want to have anything to do with her. He's a smart man. Smart alien.
And one of the things we learn here is his last name,
Oh.
Naranek.
Ambassador Narnik. Okay. And how Texas Kosh was like, nope, 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 nope. And she's letting us know that they live on the seventh planet from the sun, and that many of the Mbari civilization or cities are cut straight into crystalline caverns.
Uh, KC says Naranek might be a title.
Oh, okay. Did they just change the color hue?
I think they may have forgot to do this little snippet as a remaster. They forgot to remaster it or something, because this goes right back to normal here.
Yeah.
I noticed it watching it earlier today.
And so they're asking her about her metamorphosis. And so she's at the news lady is saying, well, considering about how many Mbari died from humans, how would the victims of those families feel about your change? You think they might feel hurt or betrayed by you assuming a human face? Which is a fair enough question if she wasn't being a complete tool about it. And Joel is saying Babylon 5, but now we should hopefully be getting some people seeing me again. Yes. Survey says.
Okay, looks like the YouTube stream's back up.
Okay, and I'm trying to get.
I think we're about 20 minutes in on the video or so.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm trying to get it put back into the screening room here.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, everyone. We're working on it. I should say Matthew's working on it. Gotta love technology. It's great when it works.
Yeah. Seems like not really playing nicely. It sees. Wait. There we go. There we go. I'm skipping ahead to about where we were.
It's about 20 or so minutes in.
Oh. On, give myself leader.
KC says Dolores was about to cry.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so if everything loses again, guys, I'm sorry. We're just gonna have to call it quits. But hopefully this just works here.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, Thomas, this is really gonna mess up Patrick when he rewatches.
He'll deal. He's a techie guy.
And Londo is confirming that, yeah, it's happening outside the station. All the weapons are being transferred ship to ship, and he's saying we're doing this because you're allowing the Narn to carry any cargo that they choose. And Jakar is saying that he believes that there are 7 more Centauri vessels outside that he believes are carrying weapons. And this raises an interesting question. Um, if the if the Centauri ships are not docked at Babylon 5, then what jurisdiction does Babylon 5 have over them?
I believe they control that system of space. Oh,
Every time Matthew stops talking mid sentence, I think it freezes. No, I'm just bad at talking.
notice the graphic on the screen.
Yeah.
Hey.
And so they're talking about the fact that the Narn and Centauri vessels outside are engaged in battle at this moment, which makes me think about the upgrades that we recently got to Babylon 5.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Centauri are like, yeah, we're doing this, but it's not our fault.
Hey,
And I
Omni, where's Kefir?
he's too busy to be on screen.
Uh,
And I guess like you were saying earlier, the same way that the U.S. Coast Guard has jurisdictions of the waters within was like 30 miles of the shoreline, something like that, 100 miles.
is that it? I don't know.
It, I want to say the mineral rights go out a lot farther than the uh, like actual jurisdiction rights. Like I want to say it doesn't take too long to get into international waters. Can't make me look this
No.
up. Hold
Don't break your internet.
on. Let's see. When do international waters start? Survey says
Ooh,
more than 24 miles off the coast of a country. I was close.
you were real close.
so, so he says to arrest those pilots, throw them in the brig, and tell ambassadors Londo and Jakar that I want to see them in my quarters now. And Ivanova says, what if they refuse? And he goes, well, then you can throw them. He's like, being recorded. And Thomas, I said 31st, but I was like, there's no way it can be that low. And so now she seems to be giving a more sympathetic interview toward him. Like it's interesting her tone, her stance, and now it seems like her questions have changed also in this second round of interviews. Where initially uh, she was interviewing him as the aggressor of an unprovoked attack, and now she's like, "Well, tell me about the oppression. When did you join the resistance?" And so Jakar is relating how 150 years ago the Centauri came to the Narn homeworld, that they were welcomed with open arms, and they spent the next 100 years enslaving the Narn people. And Jakar specifically is relating the story about how one day he accidentally spilt basically hot coffee on the mistress of the house, the Centauri mistress, and she ordered him executed.
His father.
Yes. And so she's asking why does the Centauri want the Narn homeworld? And he goes, well, why does any more advanced civilization oppress a lesser civilization? Because they want the land, because they want the resources.
Most of all, because they can.
And so she's asking how does he respond to the allegations that the Narn people have lost 6 out of 7 of the last engagements, and the war is now a more of a holding action against the Centauri. This is very reminiscent of how Ducat might explain his occupation of Bajor.
A little bit. Paramount did it again.
I'm just saying there's a little overlap here. But he's talking about how when the Centauri arrived, the Narn were backwaters people, and they lifted them up to the stars. And how did they repay us? With terrorism. And we willingly left the homeworld, but finally, because of their continued action, we had to take a stand. And I think it's interesting, both in terms of the way they have framed these two interviews with the lighting. You both see the cultural differences, um, but also just like uh, how they might be framing it from a news perspective. Like Londo's Londo's setting was a very bright area, whereas Jakar was a very earthy and dark tone. And so the Centauri have sent a cruiser saying that no, you're not allowed. Not only are you not allowed to search our ships, we're going to blow you out of the water if you try to. Oh, and even worse, any ship attempting to enter or leave Babylon 5 will be fired upon by the Centauri ship.
Blockade.
And he's prepared to use deadly force even against Babylon 5 itself. And now a word from our sponsors.
Very interesting word from our sponsors.
This is a very 90s outfit that the kid's in.
And that's John Gross, who played Jay Gordon in TNG, Disaster.
Jay Gordon and what?
Disaster, the episode Disaster, TNG.
Oh, this music in the background is so spot on. And it's a Psy-Core episode.
Or a commercial, anyway.
What did I say?
Episode.
Oh, yeah, sorry, a Psy-Core advertisement. But the little boy was saying, I somehow I knew he was lying, but he beat me up until I said I was the one lying. I don't understand why I feel so different. And he goes, because you're a latent telepath.
Watch
And
watch the end of this very closely.
oh wait, what was that? Blink and you'll miss it. I blinked.
You blinked?
I saw it
Ah,
flash.
the Psy-Core is your friend. Trust the core. That's what
I
flashed on the screen.
I love the fact that when this aired, no one would have been able to catch what that said.
That's true.
Like people like kids today cannot understand the idea of, oh well, I'll just hit the left arrow, go back 5 seconds, and pause it. Like you would have either had to have been intentionally recording it on VHS or wait for a rerun so that you could record on VHS so you could pause it at that perfect moment.
JMS was telling people to record this episode.
That's great. I, okay, so yeah, I was alive at this time too, guys. I know we had VCRs, but like I didn't record things unless I wasn't there to watch them live. And so the fact that she's interviewing him right now lets us know that the events of what we've been seeing on Babylon 5 happened sometime before her interview with him. Like there's been a time gap for her to get back to Earth and do a follow-up interview.
Right.
But he was saying that Earth doesn't want to be dragged into a fight between these two people. That if they're gonna duke it out, let them duke it out in their own backyards and not ours, basically. That's it, Thomas. Yeah, my mommy only told me this year that I was finally old enough to watch Babylon 5. The secret's out. And so Sheridan has put out the word that Babylon 5 is going to defend itself.
And they're going to start sending ships through.
Sheridan was just mentioning how he brought the Narn in, or Earth. He effectively brought Earth in on Narn's side. And so this is a classic who's going to blink first situation.
Yeah.
The the Centauri know that if they attack the transport, they're going to have to immediately fire on Babylon 5. So in a lot of ways, this feels reminiscent of like the Cuban Missile Crisis.
It does, yeah, a little bit.
But
Uh-oh.
unfortunately, there's a second jump point. That's a big jump point. And how's the Narn?
It's the Narn.
So they had literally been on the cusp of de-escalating the war. That the Centauri, they blunked, and now they're opening up dialogue. They're going to communicate, scale this down. But the Narn showed up. They didn't listen to Sheridan saying we have this under control. Do not engage. And just another one of those crossroad moments where peace was this close to happening. And so the Narn are trying to open a jump point, but it's not working. And the I guess the stress of trying to go into a jump point without it being correctly formed blew up the ship.
I think that CGI has improved.
And so the news lady is talking about how this is kind of standard doings for Babylon 5. They have some good days, they have some bad days, but it's a constant flashpoint out there. And yeah, Texas, neither side won in a battle that wasn't even necessary.
Right.
And so she went back to Garibaldi and said, "Is it worth it?" And he said, "Absolutely." That they learn that when things go wrong, they figure out what went wrong and they move forward. And even Londo says yes. That we have to work harder to make sure that we communicate with one another. And then you never let a tragedy go to waste. He goes, this violent attack by non-forces was an unfortunate thing. But Jakar, he's the dissenting voice. He goes, I don't know anymore. I used to think so, but now I'm not so sure. And so Delenn is saying, yes, I still believe in the Babylon 5 project. She goes, the human race is unique in that of all the races, they try to build a community. If the Narn or the Centauri or even the Mbari built a station like this, it would only be used by its own people. But the humans opened up their doors and made it a community for everyone. And Franklin is saying that if they weren't there right now, then half the people in the room would be dead, which is interesting because I might argue that if they weren't there, the attack wouldn't have happened in the first place, and maybe all of them would still be alive.
Possibly.
And Sheridan is saying that the job of Babylon 5 is not to enforce the peace, but to create the peace. And so he's talking about how there have been several crossroad moments where they've stumbled, like they stumbled at the death of the president, and on and on and on they've been stumbling. And he's saying what we need to do is lift up the people's eyes back to the horizon. Yeah, Babylon 5 failed. Time to make Babylon 6.
But it's the last of the Babylon stations.
True, true. I guess they figured the Babylon name was no good. They decided to call like London 1 or. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for toughing it out with us tonight. That was.
Yeah, got a little rough there a couple times, but we made it through.
We did. I was really wondering if we're gonna make it. If internet goes out, thanks for joining us. See you next week. But until then, Jeff, what did you think of the episode?
I thought was a fantastic episode. I and I think it was kind of written as an episode to get people caught up on the series that may not have seen it from the beginning, because we get a lot of references to
Hmm.
the first season and a half. So you kind of get a flavor of what has happened in the show. Not everything up to this point. Yeah, and no Kefir again, Thomas. You're right.
Oh,
And
Josh
somehow
is
I
saying
don't
you
think.
hear him, but you don't see him on screen.
Oh, well, I'll take your word for that, Josh. I did not hear his voice. But no, I think this was a fantastic episode. It's something that you don't see a lot of, this type of episode. It was new for this series. News program, behind the scenes, filmed as as you were watching a news program on a network. I think this is heavily modeled on like 60 Minutes,
Mm-hmm.
like a 60-minute special, and they did a great job with it, I thought. One interesting note is JMS was worried that Warner would reject this story. Now,
Hmm.
he's supposed to submit a script payment to Warner as he's writing the story. He did not submit that until after they approved the script. That was
Okay.
unusual. That was unusual. Usually they get paid ahead of time.
Okay. So who didn't cut the check?
He didn't ask for one until after they approved the script. And usually it doesn't work that way.
Okay. Interesting.
Usually they get paid ahead of time as for writing it.
Right.
And welcome, John. So once they did approve the script, he then submitted for his payment. I think, I was thinking about this earlier today. Most of the times I've watched this series, other than the very first time, it's been in rapid succession rather, on the episode. So, I watch several episodes at a time, or maybe one episode a day, every day, or pretty much every day. And I noticed watching it once a week for these streams that I've missed a lot about Delenn, or Dolores. I'm not sure which way you're going right now with her name, but I missed a lot with her on what she's going through with the change.
Hmm.
I guess I kind of glossed over it, thinking, oh, let's get to the next episode. Let's get to the next episode. We got a lot of exciting things going on. We got a war going on. And we got this mysterious Rod Sterling guy in the background and all this stuff, I missed a lot of the Dolores stuff or Delenn stuff, and I'm noticing it more now. She's going through a lot. I mean, she went through this scene being interviewed by the reporter, and she broke down. She wanted to stop. She was crying. I'm surprised she went back and talked to her again at the end of the story.
Yeah.
And I guess I kind of glossed over that in the past. I just kind of missed it, but I noticed it today watching it earlier, preparing for tonight's stream. And I'm noticing that we're getting it almost every week now, where I hadn't noticed that in the past and rewatching the series. So I find that quite interesting. I'm picking up more on that storyline than I have in the past.
There's something interesting about the way we grew up watching TV shows. You almost get more time to stew and think about it than when you're just like watching and watching and watching and watching the binge watch.
Right.
And something, no, I watched kind of fun about it.
I watched it once a week when it originally came out, because when it originally came out, I kind of hit and miss on season 1, but then I really started to watch it regularly in season 2, and then I hadn't watched it for a couple years, and then it was on TNT, and they would be playing five episodes a week.